Imagine a world where the headlines only scratch the surface, where a single tweet can ignite outrage, a studio encounter can change a narrative, and the real story lives somewhere between the cameras and the corridors of power. Today, we're not just revisiting a political clash, we're uncovering what it really tells us about trust, perception, and the quiet forces shaping our lives. This isn't just about politics, it's about people, pressure, and the power of belief. Late last week, numbers quietly emerged from the Office for Budget Responsibility, cold figures, clinical forecasts, but behind those numbers was something far more combustible: fear, expectation, and uncertainty about the future. Before the Chancellor could even stand at the dispatch box, the story had already escaped into the wild. Leaked projections painted a bleaker picture than many expected, and suddenly the budget wasn't just policy, it was personal. For millions across the UK, especially those who remember a different economic era, the language of small contributions felt loaded, not reassuring, not modest, but ominous. And then came the outrage. Piers Morgan did what Piers Morgan does. With a phone in hand and an audience at his fingertips, he unleashed a barrage of accusations, calling the Chancellor disingenuous, accusing the government of downplaying the real cost to ordinary people. It struck a nerve, not because it was polite, but because it echoed a suspicion many already felt. But what happened next didn't unfold on social media, it happened behind the scenes. A chance encounter, a BBC makeup room, two political heavyweights sharing the same space, separated by ideology, united by inevitability. Imagine the irony: rehearsed lines, applied makeup, and a tension so thick it didn't need microphones. This was no longer just commentary, it was theater. The emotional peak. Then came the live broadcast. Under Laura Kuenssberg's questioning, Rachel Reeves stood her ground. She didn't deny the difficulty, she reframed it. Not a demand, a duty. Not pressure, participation. And this is where the story takes its unexpected turn. Because this wasn't about winning an argument, it was about identity. Reeves spoke not as a technocrat, but as someone who claims she has been underestimated her entire life. Someone who believes conviction can outlast criticism. Someone leaning into personal history to justify public policy. For some viewers, it landed. For others, it deepened the divide. Polls lit up, comments flooded in, a nation split not just on numbers, but on trust. Why this matters? Here's the truth we don't talk about enough. Politics isn't only shaped by laws and budgets, it's shaped by language, tone, and timing. When people feel misled, even subtly, confidence erodes, and once trust is gone, no spreadsheet can restore it. This moment wasn't just about tax, it was about whether leaders truly understand the emotional weight of their words, and perhaps more importantly, whether we as citizens are willing to look beyond outrage and ask harder questions. Here's what rarely makes the headlines. Long before debates go live, decisions are tested in private rooms. Committees meet, drafts circulate, information leaks, sometimes by accident, sometimes not. By the time a tweet explodes or a confrontation airs, the outcome is already set. The real power doesn't shout, it whispers. And while we argue over sound bites, the machinery of government keeps moving, quietly, methodically, and out of sight. So who was right, the outspoken critic or the composed chancellor? Maybe that's the wrong question, because the real lesson here is bigger than either of them. Every headline is a doorway, not a destination. Every viral moment is an invitation to dig deeper, think harder, and resist easy conclusions. When we do that, news stops being noise, it becomes insight, it becomes understanding, and sometimes it becomes a mirror reflecting our own fears, hopes, and expectations. If you value stories that go beyond the surface, stories that challenge, inspire, and surprise, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and join the conversation. This is GMB Time, where every story matters, every perspective counts, and the truth is always deeper than the headline.